Hey YouTube, this is Joe with Youngblood Family Farm, and we are doing the 2020 season review. Fast and Furious. It was a really fast season. It came at us so fast that I tapped on a Friday and I boiled better than 3 gallons on a Monday. It it came hard and fast, and it seemed like it was just a whirlwind, which I guess that's kind of how it is. But let's get into it, okay? So we had 5 boils. We had 1, 2, and 3. Well, let's get into it. So I'm looking at my notes here on my phone. Started out, we tapped on, I believe it was Friday the 21st. I tapped on, we had midwinter break where I teach, and so I was able to tap on that 21st. So we tapped on a Friday. I believe it was about the 20th, 21st, something like that. And the next 2 days we had a pretty decent run, and then on that following Monday I was able to boil. Sugar percent wasn't super terrific, but it was in that 2.2%, which is about a 40-to-1 ratio. So all in all, I was pleased with that. We RO'd it. Once, if you're not familiar with ROs, it will remove 60 to 70% of the water, and it's a pretty good deal because it's removing the water while you're sleeping, it's removing the water while you're at work. All I do is I set a little timer on the wall, and I have to switch from barrel to barrel, but it's a great little setup. This was boil number 1, and so pretty good clarity. Shine that light in there. It's not helping at all. It's shining from the bottom side. Pretty good clarity. Usually I do this outside, but this time be dark. Dark for the first. Pretty dark for your first boil. Anyhow, moving on to the second one. We had pretty good run again, and then we probably should not watch my notes so much. We had a pretty good run, and then we had a little bit of a freeze up, and so there was quite a bit of sap left in the barrels or in the buckets. We collected about 70 gallons on that collection, RO'd that, and then another 20 or so out in the trees was frozen. About the same clarity. However, this took a lot of filtering. I filtered this twice. It was still cloudy even after filtering it twice. I eventually allowed it to settle, and then I was able to pour that off, leaving the settled amount in the bottom of the bottles. But the clarity just wasn't there. Tastes great, but cloudy. I don't know if that had to do with the boiling the frozen sap or what, but it taught me a little bit of patience. This boil right here was the 20-hour boil. We had the super run come in, and the super run was, oh boy, what is this? We collected 130 gallons that day. I collected 30-gallon barrels, and I have brass spigots in the bottom so I can run those through the RO. And that day we collected 130 gallons, and I remember waking up, it was a Sunday night, and I came home, I was coming home from church, and I thought maybe I should go collect and fire up that RO. No, it's going to slow down. Got a little antsy, woke up during the night or early in the morning, went outside a little bit after 5, and several of the buckets were just dripping over. At that point, I knew I didn't have enough time to collect, RO, shoulda, woulda, maybe could've, you know how that one goes. And so I know that those buckets were dripping the entire day. How many gallons went over? Who knows? Probably 20, 30, possibly 40. It was the super run. Collected 120 gallons, started processing it. No, I collected 130 gallons because I had both the 5-gallon pails full too. Collected those, ran those hard through the RO, came home the next day, went out and collected an additional 60 gallons. My wife had started the evaporator about 1 o'clock that day, and we boiled into the night, filled the evaporator up, filled it up with wood, let it boil down about 15 gallons overnight, hit it hard the next morning, and we boiled until, I don't know, 11 o'clock. This came in just shy of 5.5 gallons. What I would tell you is I should have finished that first 90-gallon batch that night and started a new one the next day, because when I have several inches inside my pan, it just takes so much heat to keep that boil going that I think that it took longer to boil it, and it was just not efficient. But I guess they all taste good, but you know, this batch I think would probably have a more robust flavor if you like robust. Delicate, I don't have much need for delicate, but robust. If I'm thinking maple syrup, this is the winner. I apologize if these numbers are backwards, but I'm working in that whole selfie mode, and it is what it is. Most people aren't going to hang around for this video. I appreciate you guys that are, and just appreciate you guys sharing too. Took a little, let's check these notes out. So we left this big boil, bottled. It filtered super, super great. I've never had a batch filter so well that I was able to bottle it that day. Usually I put them in half-gallon mason jars and I allow them to settle for at least a night. And this batch, it filtered so well. It was crystal clear, and I thought, well, why not? Let's bottle it. So I just bottled it. 5.5 gallons. I don't have enough half-gallon mason jars. Went on to this batch, and this one was more of the consistent. Let me tell you the dates of that. That was 3/6, 3/7, and 3/8. So March 6th, 7th, and 8th. And this was more of the consistent runs that we're used to in March, where I've got 53 taps out, and we were pulling in 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons a tap on average. So we had a 50-gallon day, a 40-gallon day, and then a 60-gallon day. Those are super manageable with my small reverse osmosis system. I was able to reduce that, boil that, and we ended up yielding 3.5 gallons on this boil. Wasn't as crystal clear. It took still a couple days to kind of really settle out, but it came out really nice, really good colors. Most of the people that I sell to, people that I share with, they don't want the light color. They want that dark color. I don't know if it reminds them of the ooey gooey table syrup or what, but they want the dark. So I'm okay with the dark. These 4 went kind of as planned, and then we end up getting 90 gallons that happened right around right around that ninth, 10th. I RO'd it. Was almost at that mental breakdown where you're tired. I'm dodging rain. I'm dodging snow. Dodging work. Not really, but trying to work it in the evenings. It was a Monday. We had rain, and the next day I had one of my children's birthdays, and I had to make the call. I couldn't keep the sap cold enough. It already RO'd. We're 50, 60 degree weather. You guys know how that deal is. I ended up putting sap on the RO. I ended up pouring that sap on my compost pile. I felt awful about it, but it was what needed to happen at that moment. Now, with that being said, we ended up having a really small run later in the week, and ended up being all in all about 35 gallons of like 1.7% sap. My evaporator pan is set up where it will not handle, it'll boil that down, but I can't finish in my pan. I don't have any desire to finish on propane. I'm a completely wood operation, and so I reduced it, called up one of my neighbors just up the hill. He has two 55-gallon drums welded together with steam pans, and I was able to take it up to him, and he was able to put it to work and add to his syrup. And so I felt good about that. Felt bad about losing that little 3-4 quarts, but I felt good about that. And then we had another 75 gallons that came in, and we boiled those on the 16th of March. And those were right around 1.7 once again. RO'd that, boiled that. That was like a 4-hour boil, went pretty quickly. And that was this batch. And you could see color is kind of off with the lighting, but they all were very consistent. I would say maybe the third one, because it boiled longer, it was a little bit darker. And so we finished the season right about 15.5 gallons. I kept looking at the tree buds, hoping that they would, are they swollen or are they softened? Can I get another boil out? Maybe I could have pushed that line, but you get to that spot where, is it going to be buddy? Is it going to be spoiled? Is it, weather was tough here in Southwest Michigan. We spiked up to 60 degrees, but then we dropped down into that mid to low 20s to really get that good run. And so, am I disappointed? I don't think so, because I get to make syrup. I was hoping for about 20 gallons. I was hoping to see some economic gains from this. But I had someone earlier in the year say, how much profit do you make per what you put in? And I don't add up the hours. Maybe someday I should add up the hours, because it'd be a ridiculous amount for how much money we actually bring in. What I love about this is, I sold 4 quarts to a neighbor the other day, $80 for 4 quarts. And I was able to take that money and buy some seeds today, and it didn't affect my family's budget. I can buy plywood, I can buy building materials, and it won't come out of the family budget. So someday maybe I'll get a sugar shack. I don't know. Someday I'll have that wood shop. I don't know. Probably not off of just syrup. Probably not off YouTube either. But if you stuck around this long, I'm looking at the clock and saying 17 minutes. I highly doubt this will be 17 minutes. But we do this because we can. very few of us do this because we have to. And so that was the season. I'm pretty happy with it. So real fun talking to you guys during the season. Real fun seeing your evaporators, seeing your ROs, fielding questions, and asking the questions and getting good answers. I strongly urge you guys to number up your bottles. I've just done in pints. After I get done recording, I'm going to rip the tape off each one of these bottles and they'll just go into the loop. But it's kind of fun to look back and to be able to compare and contrast. And yeah. So, this is Joe, the Youngblood Family Farm. Just a shop teacher that makes maple syrup. So, you guys take care. You guys are keep sugaring, man. Keep on boiling. So, have a good night. Bye.